Hey guys, it's Patience Noah Fuller, and welcome to Entrepreneurship Tea, where we are ditching the tea. Entrepreneurship is definitely a crazy journey. So we are discussing or talking about our journey that will hopefully inspire someone, right? And then we're sharing those missed opportunities. And then we're also celebrating those small and big wins, right? So those are all the things that we'll be sharing on this podcast. My name is Patience Noah Fuller, like I said, and I am an independent insurance agency owner. I own an agency called Patience Noah Insurance, where we service small to mid-sized businesses, providing commercial auto, professional liability, general liability, group benefits, you name it, whatever you need, we are there to help. And we service, again, small to mid-sized businesses. If you're an individual that need a quote for auto and home, guess what? We can help you out too. So give us a call. The number is below. Give us a call if you need a quote or if you need us to give you a review on your policy or anything of that nature. Don't hesitate to reach out to us. And then also, while you're at it, follow us on our social media platforms that are listed below as well. You can also find it in our bio of all our social media platforms for Patience Noah Insurance. Okay, so let's get into it. If you've watched the other two videos that has been posted, we have talked about my transition from early, like my super early days from sales, right? How I started in the sales industry, or I started in sales. And then we've also talked about my little hustle when I was younger, how I used to do hair as my little side hustle. And I still do hair, but you just got to catch me now. Catch me if you can. I don't have the time right now because we are deep in the trenches of entrepreneurship as an agency owner. So go back and watch those videos. But today we are basically talking about how I got in the insurance industry, okay, and how I transitioned out of the insurance industry. So years ago, after I graduated, I look young, but I'm not that young. It's been quite a while since I've been out of college. After I graduated college, I went to UMass Dartmouth, graduated with a marketing degree. After I graduated, I was looking for a job, and a gentleman that was mentoring me at the time told me to go and look in the insurance industry. Me not knowing what the insurance industry was, he told me to go and Google it, right? So I went online, Google the insurance industry, and I got my first job as a sales representative for a local insurance agency, I would say at the time. And honestly, it was sort of like a cold calling agency. We used to call, literally, we used to make 100 calls a day all over the country. We were licensed in multiple states, and I think I was licensed in, I want to say about 10 states at the time. And we would call hundreds of people a day. Here is what was interesting about the system that they had in place. They were using this new technology. So before you get a hold of someone, the system had called them probably over 10 times. So when you get a hold of them, they are cussing you out from head to toe. So that was the environment that I was in, but I loved it, right? Because there was this whole competition aspect to it, and I love me a really good competition. So stuck around for about 6 months. Usually, on average, most people were out the door by a month, but I hung on for 6 months. And after that, I decided, you know what? I really like this industry. I want to pursue it more. So I decided to move to Connecticut because I wanted to pursue my dreams of being in the insurance industry. At the time, I had done some research and I came across, I was looking at states to move into, looked into Chicago, looked into, I want to say somewhere in Virginia. And then I ended up settling for Connecticut because at the time it was known as the insurance hub of the world. So that's where I settled. And I started to build my career in the industry. I went from the sales aspect of it to transitioning to the service aspect of it. And then eventually I worked my way from service, and then I ended up working as an account manager, managed small accounts, and then worked my way to mid-sized accounts and things like that. And then also while I was in Connecticut, I worked for a small mom and pop insurance agency that were owned by two couples that were very interesting people. They were always fighting. So imagine how awkward it was being around them. But they were great. I learned a lot from them, working with them. And then I made my way to Willis Towers Watson, who is one of the biggest brokers. And I had a great time. I enjoyed my Willis Towers Watson teammates. We had a great connection. So I would say when I was in corporate, that was probably the best team that I had ever been on, which was my Willis Towers Watson teammates. I'm still in touch with a few of them. We connect at least once or twice a year. So that was probably some of the best times that I had in corporate when I was at Willis Towers Watson. And then after that, transitioned and made my way to a carrier, one of the large carriers. I worked for them as a marketing representative, and my job functionality or my job function while I was with them was to work with the independent agencies that were contracted with them. My job was to go into their agencies and figure out or help them grow with the carrier through helping them utilize the marketing tools that we have, and then carrying their reports to them and just, helping them grow a profitable book of business with us, right? So I would travel all over Massachusetts to meet with these agencies. As I was out on the road, meeting with these agencies, I started to spark this interest about opening an agency. I started asking more questions. I started asking folks like, how did you go about opening an agency? Some of them, they were very, 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 very open with the information that they shared with me about how I could go about opening an agency. And then some, they kept the information close to their heart. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But unfortunately, I did not stay with that company too long, right? Because I ended up getting let go. So, which it happens, right? And we are here to share, those moments, right? Because it happens. One of the things I would say is that it's not every team, right? That makes you feel welcome when you're on them, right? And that was the experience that I had with this team. I was definitely, I never felt welcome. I never felt like I was a part of the team. I felt like an outcast, and my supervisor and my manager sort of made me, they contributed to that feeling. I remember it was a very hostile environment, and I just felt like I couldn't thrive with them. There was always something I was doing wrong, and eventually I just started to get depressed. I really started to go downhill because I hated going to work. I hated seeing them. I hated every time we would have to meet. I just hated being around them. And I remember one time, at this time, I didn't really know what panic attacks were. I had heard about it, but I just didn't know what the symptoms were. I remember I was driving to work. At the time, I lived closer towards Connecticut. By this time, I had transitioned to the southern side of Massachusetts. So I was around the Springfield area, Amherst to be exact. So I ended up while I was in Amherst, I remember driving from Amherst. We had a team meeting around Hudson or somewhere in Massachusetts. I remember feeling so down, coming to see them. I was so anxious, and I just couldn't breathe. I honestly couldn't breathe at this time, and I just had to stop. I stopped the car, and I had to sit down and just calm myself down. Before I went to go see them. And then after that, I just never felt like being around them. I started to deteriorate. I didn't want to show up for work. I didn't want to do anything. I just didn't want to get up, because I felt like maybe this is the only word that's coming to mind. I felt like I was being bullied. Like, I remember one time, there was a one-on-one that the manager had arranged. Never told me that HR was going to be on the one-on-one. She had invited HR, and HR was on the call. They were recording me without my knowledge. And as I think I may have mispronounced something, but the way that she said it, like the way that she corrected me, it was just so rude. And there were these little gaslighting incidents that would happen, and it just was not the safest place for me. And eventually I just stopped working, and I didn't care that they were going to let me go, because by this point, this is not where I want to be. Think about it. You're super young, and you get this job, and you're thinking this is your dream job, and you come amongst people that are just keen on making sure that they point out that you don't belong, right? When we would travel and I would do things that other teams or other people from other regions would recognize, when I come back to my team, I mean, they would make me feel like, oh yeah. I remember one time, like, I had gone to this training, and my presentation won. Like, I was the best presenter, right? And I remember like getting like, all right, that's nothing special, right? That was what I was told by my director, by the way. Oh yeah, that's nothing special. It happens all the time, right? So those little things, right? It really made me feel discouraged, and eventually, hey, they let me go. It's okay. Things happen, right? So after I was let go, I cried for about 2 months. Okay, I would say I was depressed. I cried for about 2 months, and I felt defeated, and there was almost this thing. I remember the last meeting we had, the meeting that, like, the day they were firing me, letting me go. I remember they came, whatever findings they had, they told me, and I remember my supervisor telling me, oh, this is probably not the best industry for you. You should probably quit and go into another industry. And I remember telling them, listen, you're not God. You can't tell me like what my future is. Maybe my future may not be with you guys, but it doesn't mean I don't have a future in the industry. And then after all of that, after everything they had said, like, oh, how does that make you feel? And I was like, I mean, how do you want it to make me feel? Like, I'm being let go. So am I supposed to be happy about it? But anyway, it's like, those are just those incidents. I just didn't make me feel like I belonged or anything like that. It didn't make me feel welcome. But hey, I was let go. It happened, right? But after I cried for 3 months, I decided, okay, I really don't like this feeling, and I never want to feel like this again. So I decided to study for my licenses. Okay, I decided to, because like I said, I lived around Springfield, Amherst. I lived in Amherst at the time. So UMass Amherst was literally up the street from me. So because they had, I think their library during school year is 24 hours. So what I would do during the day, because I was so depressed, I would cry and sleep all throughout the day. And then at night, which I am a night owl, my brain works better at night. So I would go to the library from 11 to maybe like 5, 6 in the morning, study. I purchased all my licensing online through Kaplan, purchased my license, and I did my self-study. I had all my note cards and everything. And because I wanted to open an independent agency, right, which that was my long-term goal, right, at the time. Because I wanted to open an agency, I decided to get all my licenses, okay? I got my property and casualty license, and then I ended up getting my life and health license. In Massachusetts, I don't know why they separate them, but those exams are separate. And then you also have your personalized license. That I had from the previous job. Remember when I said I got into sales? Initially, I got my personalized license where I was selling auto and home, okay? Property and casualty enabled me to sell commercial insurance. And then life and health, obviously, you can sell life and health products, okay? So that's what I wanted. So I went ahead and I got my licenses. After I got all my licenses, then I moved moved on to the next step, which was for me to go about to open my agency. And that's how I started the journey, how I went into corporate, and how I had my grand exit out of the corporate. It wasn't a Cinderella story, okay, at all. It wasn't a Cinderella story. But guess what? Right now, looking back at everything that's happening, I can honestly say that experience made me stronger in everything that I experienced in corporate, right? Honestly, those are the things that I'm leaning on right now to run Patience Noah Insurance, okay? So, listen, at the end of the day, every bad experience or experience that you may be looking at it as this is bad right now, down the line, all of it happens for a reason. And for me, to be quite honest with you, if I hadn't gotten fired, maybe I would still be in corporate now. I'll probably be working for one of the companies. And listen, it's not too late for me to go back to corporate. If I ever want to go back to corporate, I could go back to corporate. But for now, hey, we are in the trenches, y'all. We are in the trenches of entrepreneurship. I'm here trying to figure out how to run an independent insurance agency. We are 4 years into it, but next time I will share with you guys how I went about exactly opening my insurance agency, the steps that I took to open my agency. Okay. I hope you learned from my experience. And if you're out there right now in corporate, you're on a team that is not making you feel welcome, that's not making you feel like you're a part of them, my hope is that you will, figure out what your next steps are, because at the end of the day, you deserve to be on a team that makes you feel welcome, that makes you feel like you're a part of them. You deserve to be part of an organization that makes you feel like, oh my gosh, I belong in this place and I can thrive in this place. So my heart goes out to you. I'm praying for you, and hopefully you can find the best solution. If you do suspect foul play, I would recommend that you start documenting. Those are some of the things I didn't catch on in the beginning. I wasn't documenting, so when it got down to it, I really had nothing to show for my experience. So if you are dealing with a team that you're suspecting foul play, just start documenting, okay? You don't have to be going around telling everybody, oh, I'm documenting. No, just silently start documenting, okay? That's what I would recommend to you. And I hope you learned something from this and keep holding on. And if you've decided, listen, maybe being on corporate or in the corporate world is not my thing, I'm ready to open a business, you know what? That's okay too, because that's how, I went about it, okay? So good luck to you, and comment below, okay? Comment below if you identify with my experience in corporate, or if you're going through something similar, right? I definitely want to hear from you. Thank you guys for listening. Please subscribe. Please follow all my social media platforms. We are listed on Spotify, on YouTube, on LinkedIn, and we are on Instagram. Follow Entrepreneurship Tea. And while you're at it, follow my business pages as well. You can find Patience Noah on all the social media platforms, okay? And listen, if you're a business out there, you need help with your insurance quotes, please give us a call. My team and I would love to assist you, okay? Thank you, and see you next episode.